Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Now, our first story comes from a user called IGaveTheBook from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit. We covered this about 3 years ago, I think it was. Bloody hell, that was a long time ago. But since that last update that we covered, there's been 4 more updates to it, up to this year as well. So we're going to cover the initial 2 parts of the story, which feel free to skip if you want to. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Also, just coming back from the future here, I've just read the story. Fair warning that, this isn't your typical Reddit drama. There's a lot of introspection and feelings from OP throughout these updates. But I personally found the emotional depth in this particular story fascinating. But I understand if it's not your cup of tea as well. Now we're going to get started. It's titled, Am I the Arsehole for gifting my mum and her husband a book on cheating for their anniversary? I'm 16 male, and I love my mum 35, but when I was 10, she had an affair and left us. I visited her as often as I could, and she always seemed happy when I was there. But I hated her new family, so I stopped visiting. Honestly, we rarely ever saw each other after just for my birthday and events really. She wants us to be close, but I want nothing to do with her new husband, so I've kept my distance. Except on February 20th, my dad announced he'd be out on business till the 12th, and my grandparents are stuck visiting relatives in Italy. And so I really had nowhere to go, and my mum jumped at the chance to have me stay with her. And just my luck that my mum's anniversary with her husband was on Sunday. I haven't had a good time here at all, so all I do is stay in my room doing homework or go out with friends to avoid family activities, because it sucks seeing how lovey-dovey she is with her husband and how they seem like the perfect family with their daughters. The morning before her anniversary day, she came to my bed and tried to cuddle with me like before she left us. But it made me angry, like we can't go back in time and pretend it's how it was. So I just pretended to be asleep and stayed curled up and frozen till she left. I started crying because of that, and I felt angry and snarky, and my mum majored in literature, so I got her a copy of Anna Karenina for her anniversary. Apologies if I got that pronunciation butchered. That book's about a lady who leaves her husband and son for her lover. I've never read it, but I watched the movie with my girlfriend and I hated it. The anniversary party was on Sunday. Everyone was having fun but me, and then people gave their gifts. I gave mine, and when my mum saw what it was, she seemed shocked but just said thanks. The party ended like an hour after, but at night when she was in her room, I heard her crying really loudly. So I kind of eavesdropped a little, and I heard her saying stuff about that book and me and her husband trying to calm her. The next day at breakfast, she left for work early before I woke up, and her husband straight up called me an arsehole and other stuff for gifting them that. It's been a few days now, and my mum has barely talked to me. Honestly, I feel so wrong. I made my mum cry, but at the same time, I don't want to be here, and she knows that. So, am I really the arsehole? Edit. Thankfully, the mods have locked this, but to everyone who keeps DMing me, here's some facts to read before you do. I gave my mum the book to try and get it across to her that I hate being at her house and being around her family, and that it hurts me to be there because I sympathize with the son from the movie, not because I want a train to run her over. I do not want that to happen to my mum. I do not want my dad to get back together with my mum. He's happy with his fiancée. My dad has his reasons for not wanting me to go to therapy and is just being protective. Yes, I stopped visiting my mum because I hate her husband, but she had custody of me on weekends or breaks she could have forced me to be with her. But since being with him or making him be with us whenever I did go to her was more important, she never tried anything beyond the bare minimum of going to big events. So of course, as usual, there were people talking to OP asking questions and OP replying. Cinnamon Girl says, info. Have you ever confronted your mother about the way she left? OP responded saying I've tried before, but she's never wanted to talk about it and has always told me to just focus on the now. Jamie says not the arsehole. Your mum had to face her past horrible behavior, and your gift caused her to have to confront the fact that her affair affects you negatively to this day. Her husband needs to stay the fuck out of it. If he says anything else to you, perhaps you should challenge him on it. OP says honestly, I hate him, and just don't say anything to him no matter how much he reaches out. After he ranted at me on Monday, I just gave him an "are you done" look and left to go to school. Crazy Bo Peep says, you say you love your mum, but do you? Nothing in your post points to that. You don't like being around her, dread spending time with her, don't like even talking to her. The affair was 6 years ago, and if you are still actively upset by it and lashing out, then you may benefit from therapy. Opie says, of course I do. End of the day, no matter what she's done, she's still my mum. I do like being around her and spending time with her. I love talking to her. I just hate that I have to do that around her new husband or the kids she has with him, and the life that she left mine for. I love my mum so much. That's why it sucked hearing her cry. Relevant Squirrel says, info, how much effort has your mum put into making amends with you? Opie says she always comes to my birthdays or big events like basketball finals and stuff, but she never does anything beyond that because then it's got to involve her new family. Like, we can't go for ice cream because then she's going to bring her daughters. Can't go to a theme park because then she'll bring her entire family. Can't really hang out at all because her family will need her. Irish Girl says, info, did your mum ever apologize for hurting you or for leaving? Has she made genuine efforts to reconcile and maintain a relationship? Opie said no, not really. Maybe it feels like to her she has, but it doesn't to me. Another commenter says, you're the arsehole. I don't know why your mother had an affair, but just because a person has children doesn't mean they have to stay in that relationship if it is not working. There is not enough information to know why the breakup happened, but it sounds like the current one works for her. It also sounds like she did not abandon you, but you could not deal with her being happy with someone other than your dad. That is a poor reflection on you. You were a young kid. You are getting older now, and you may never find out what caused a relationship to fracture. But you do have a chance of having a relationship with your mum. Opie says, I could handle her being happy with someone if he wasn't the guy she cheated and left us for. Commenter says, this is a tough one, especially looking at the ages. Your mother was pretty young when she had you, and you don't mention your father's age at all. Opie says, my dad is a year younger than my mum. Her husband is like 12 or something years older than her. Commenter says, not the arsehole. That is delightfully petty. But do yourself a favor and get therapy before you are consumed by your anger towards your mother. You never have to forgive her, but learn to move past what happened and not obsess over it. Opie says, I talked to a counselor at school. My dad's probably not going to let me go to a psychologist. Commenter replies saying, why not? Opie says, because some of the stuff that happened to him with a psychologist when he was younger, like younger than me, but I'm not going to talk about that. It isn't relevant and I think it's against the rules to explicitly mention. Commenter says, oh my god, yeah. At least tell your mum, tell someone. And more he does it, document and record. Because he's going to start shit with you when your mum is not around. Trust me on that one. His kind always do. Opie says, I just avoid him. I don't talk to him. I don't remember the last thing I said to him. He can try and start shit with me all he wants, but he's never getting a word out of me. Commenter says, if she is smart enough to know the implications, she already saw the consequences. Opie says, I did not mean for it to tell my mum to let a train hit her. I do not want my mum dead. I watched the movie and I felt really bad for the son in it, and I wanted it to show her how unhappy I am at her home. Text Negative says to OP, you should talk to her. It was horrible of her to cheat on your father and wreck your family, and if you can, please get therapy. I don't know why your father is acting overprotective. Getting help isn't a bad thing at all, but I don't know the circumstances and I'm not going to judge. Ask her to listen to you first, not to interrupt you until you ask her to. Lead the conversation. All the best. Opie says that's just because really bad things happened to him with his psychologist and he doesn't want them to happen to me. He's just scared for me. I know it doesn't make sense. It doesn't to me either, but it's just how he is about it. Soft Spoken says, I was really curious about what you heard your mum say about you when you were eavesdropping. Can you spare any details? Opie says just stuff like about how she can't teach that book anymore, or how she just wants me to be happy at her home. Commenter says, in my opinion, it's not protective to keep you out of therapy. Has your dad actually been to therapy, or are his onions based on hearsay? Opie says yes, he has been and bad things happen to him. That's why he's scared. He doesn't want the same to happen to me. So OP comes in with their first update and says, posting this now because people keep messaging me about it. The day after I posted, I let my girlfriend read it, and she was like, "Stay with me, dummy." I told my dad, and he said I could stay there, and sent my girlfriend's mum an email. At my mum's home, I told her. She got really sad but said okay, she'd drive me, and sent an email too. I still wanted to talk alone to my mum like people said to. As she drove, I wanted to talk like the school counselor helped me write a letter to read, like some people said to. But I just froze, and she drove to a parking lot and started talking. She said a lot of stuff about the book, about still seeing me like her baby, her not actually being happy, and about us, but ended with her saying it's okay for me to hate her for what she did because she hurt me and she'd never push to be my mum again. But if I ever wanted, she'd be there for me. But I don't hate her. I love her, so I started crying really bad. I've never had a breakdown, but I think that's what it was. I remember her taking me to the back seat and hugging me, and me trying to say I love her while crying, but it is a blur. She calmed me down and I told her how I feel, and I do want her to be my mum. Just I hate her husband, and I don't want to train to hit her. I even told her about when she tried to cuddle, and how I feel bad now because that'll never happen again because I'm never going back to her house. She told me she knew I was awake and was mad at her, so I started crying again. She told me it was okay, and she's wrong. And we talked a lot, but I kept crying, so she got me Advil because my head started hurting. She seemed sad I hate her husband, got really mad at him when I told her all the mean things he said to me, and said she'd never let him get between us again. She said she'd take me to therapy with just her no matter what Dad says, and to spend time with me alone. She dropped me off, and I felt better since I stayed there, until my dad came back. My dad promised never to send me there again, and to stay at my girlfriend's if my grandparents stay in Italy. He agreed to let me do family therapy with my mum, but he said he'd ensure it's appropriate. We haven't started it yet, but my mum has kept her promise to spend time with me so far, and it does make me feel happier. I didn't think the last post would blow up like it did, so I hope with this update you guys don't have to worry so much anymore, because I think it's getting better. So again, there were some curious people in the comments. Someone said, OP, did she ever try and tell you why she just up and abandoned you and had an affair? OP says, I don't know why she had an affair, but she left because she got pregnant. Commenter replied saying, did she ever try and push for you and half siblings to have a relationship? OP says, she tried when I was there, but I managed to duck out of the family activities and stuff. She tried to get me to do with everyone. I don't have any problem with them, but if having a relationship with them means one with their dad, I can't do it. My mum promised me that whenever I was ready to get to know them, she'd make sure we do it without him around. Alexander K's reply saying, sorry if I missed this already answered somewhere. But why do you hate her husband so much? Obviously the affair, but I mean she chose to participate as well. You obviously do not have to like him, and I'm glad she's so open to keeping him out of your life. Just curious if he did something else. OP says, because he met her through my dad through work, and he still went after her, even though he knew she was married and had me. And after she left, every single time I tried to be alone with her or do something with her, he'd always get involved like he was trying to be a mediator or like I could only see her through him. And when he couldn't go, he'd make sure to send their kids. He'd always try and make me respect him as a stepdad and would get upset when I didn't or didn't do things with him that I'd do with my mum or dad. Then when I stopped talking to him entirely, he'd say I was being too stubborn for my own good, would call me a mule, say my mum deserved better than me and other stuff. He never actually cursed me out until I gave the book. M says to OP, hello young man, I'm sorry for everything you've gone through, but your update gave me hope for your future with your mother. I do have questions, but you don't have to answer any of them. What has your mum done in regards to how her husband treats you? Did she make him apologize? Has your half-siblings ever mistreated you themselves? Have you done any therapy with her yet? And is it virtual or in person? How did your dad react to you choosing therapy? Opie says, I don't know. She was really angry when I told her everything and told me he doesn't have a right to say things like that to me. And in regards to the book, that he shouldn't have been trying to defend her from me because I didn't do anything wrong. And even if I did, she'd always forgive me. Something probably happened, but I don't know. I told her I didn't want an apology from him. I don't want to see him or hear his voice. So I don't really care if he's sorry or not. And no, they're just little kids. About the half-siblings. We're starting with a psychologist. I think that's what she is. Next week on Friday. And then about therapy, saying he was kind of tense about it, but he talked to my mum on the phone and she either said she had pulled a custody card to make sure I go or somehow convinced him. He's fine with it now, but he wants to meet the psychologist before we start. And a series of questions. One said, how did you find out your mum had cheated? Opie said she left because she got pregnant. Kind of hard to hide that from me. Someone said your dad was sad, angry and betrayed and wanted a new relationship to fail. So he unloaded his feelings onto you. Something along the lines of, mum cheated and she's leaving our family because she doesn't love us anymore. Opie says he never said anything like that or anything to try and make me think bad of her. Commodore says, and clearly he was successful because the absolute hate you have now for your stepdad. Opie replied saying, I hate my mum's husband because I hate him, not because I was ordered to by my dad. I've given my reasons for why I hate him. My dad never wanted me to stop being with mum and has never tried to turn me against her. He always thought that a boy needs his mum, but never forced me to go because he knew how much being around her husband hurt me, and she never pushed to do anything without her family. I guess he thought things would be different this time, and because there was nowhere else for me to go. Commodore says, would you still hate your stepdad if your mum left your dad before cheating on him? Opie says, if he was the same kind of person he is to me, then I probably would. Commodore says, on the update you mentioned that your mother said that she wasn't happy. Is she not happy with her marriage or something in her life? I got really curious about this because this maybe can cause problems in a relationship in general. And it can maybe affect your relationship with her. Wish you all the best. Opie says, while she was talking in the parking lot and I was just listening to her talk about things, I listed, and she brought up that she wasn't that happy, but has always seen me as a perfect baby in her head. Like, I'm still 10 and I can't do anything wrong and I'm a favorite. So she was trying to make her house seem like a perfect place and was trying to be more loving with her husband and try to make us do all the family activities because she thought it would make me come over more. Like she thought it could make me happy to be at her home willingly instead of pushing the custody agreement. Then she'd be happy to. Update 2. Just an update. Posting during locker break so I can't respond till later. Because some people are curious and are messaging me, so here's like a mass update. I've been going to therapy with my mum every day on Fridays, but we hang out just the two of us on Saturdays and Sundays. Like our first weekend together, she took me to see Batman, and the day after we went to Boston Pizza. Since then, we've really just been going on walks and hikes or even shopping. But I like that because we get to talk a lot. And we talk on FaceTime every day. It really does feel like I've gotten her back as my mum, and that's what I wanted. The best part is that when we hug now, it's like we're actually hugging. And before it was just like I did it because I had to. And I guess it just feels so special. Like I don't know, but I feel really happy, which I didn't before. I guess it was like I was missing something because my girlfriend has said that I seem a lot happier than before. Therapy has been really weird. It's not like all I thought it would be. Like before the first meeting, my dad talked to the psychologist for like half an hour, like he was interrogating her. But then my mum and I had the session. It was like the psychologist was focused on that book and why it made my mum cry and everything. The sessions since then have been weird because it's like I ended up crying a lot, so my mum always brings a bottle of Gatorade for me. My mum does end up crying too, but she always tries to hide it and not show. And when the therapist asked why, she said because she doesn't want her crying to influence what I'm saying or how I'm feeling. I still don't feel comfortable going alone, even though the therapist has said it, and my mum said she'd take me and is going to start on her own too. I just don't feel ready. Oh, and in therapy I did tell her I was worried that she was only doing all of this because she wanted to bring me into her family. And when she figured out it would never happen, she would just choose her husband again and leave me for good. That made her cry a lot, and she couldn't even hold it in, and she was like, it's because she's finally starting to understand that I don't trust her, and I might never trust her again, and she knows it's all her fault. She did promise me again though, that I'd never have to see her husband, and she'd only bring her daughters when I wanted, and that she'd never let him stop her from going to my graduations and my wedding, when she kinda calmed down. She did say that the only time I'd have to deal with him was at her funeral, but I don't want to think about that. I don't want to write too much about what happened in therapy, but I guess I kinda felt like I should share that. Easter was the best holiday I've had in a while, even though I didn't go anywhere. My mum's husband took their kids to see his parents and she stayed behind. We spent so much time that weekend together. For part of it, I kind of felt like a little kid again. I even got to properly introduce her to my girlfriend and to my girlfriend's mum, and we all had Easter dinner together. Like my mum made the turkey and it was amazing. I didn't know how much I missed it, but it tasted exactly like it did when I was little. And I did finally admit to her that my grandparents aren't coming back from Italy, and that's why I was feeling down so recently. I also admitted that Dad and his fiancée are going to move to Catania after I graduate, and are going to stay there, and that I'll probably go to university in Catania and Palermo. She was sad, and she did admit she didn't want me to go because I'd end up moving summer next year, and that's not that far away, and she probably wouldn't see me in person at all. But she did say she'd support me no matter what I chose, and a lot of our sessions since then have kind of focused on me going to university there. Yesterday on Mother's Day, her husband went to see his parents again, and my mum and I were already going to a restaurant called Cactus Club together. I didn't know if he was taking their kids, and if he wasn't, I know I would have felt bad if they didn't get to celebrate Mother's Day with her too, so I said she could bring them. I don't really know the girls that well, but it was still a good time. My mum brought her camera with her because she hates using one on her phone, and she got our waitress to take a photo of all of us together at the end. I did have the waitress take the photos again on my phone so I could send them to her, and she could have them on her phone. I guess that's another update for everyone who's asking. I don't mind updating, and I like talking to the people who comment on here, or on that repost subreddit, but I'm going to tell my mum I've been posting. If she says I can keep posting, then I will, but if she tells me to stop, then this is the last one. And of course it wasn't the last one, because we have update 3, which says, so I guess to give an update, my exams are all done and it's summer break now. But I got into AP English. I got 2 lists of books from my teacher because he wants us to read them over the summer to be prepared. On one list is books like Wuthering Heights, The Great Gatsby, Moby Dick and Frankenstein, and he said we absolutely should read through those since we'll be choosing 2 of them to do essays and stuff on. On the other list is just a giant list of books that he recommends reading to be prepared. It's a really big list, and of course, Anna Karenina is on the list. My girlfriend saw that and was like, well, good thing you already bought that one. Anyway, because my mum knows all the books, I gave her the list before we went to our therapy session. She agreed to take me to Indigo or to some old bookstores to get me the best versions of them, because some of them are translated from other languages. I still don't feel comfortable doing therapy without her. I don't know. I just don't think that I'm going to be able to speak up without her there. She's pushing me to do it, but I just can't. Even she's done some sessions alone through Teams. But like, if I do it alone and I end up crying, I don't want the therapist to hug me. If it's at home, I don't want my dad or his fiancée to wonder what's wrong. My dad still doesn't like that I'm doing therapy. He actually had a really big fight with his fiancée about it because when her niece and nephew move in, she's going to send them to therapy. He's like, they shouldn't go because they can't speak English, and it might turn out like it did for him because he couldn't speak English and he had to go as a kid. It sucked because I got roped into it, and my mum ended up being called and she threatened to pull the custody card on Dad to make it clear I'd still be going with her. He did say sorry to me after, and that he had tried to be more supportive and get over being scared. Anyway, my mum bought me The Great Gatsby, Moby Dick and Frankenstein because she said The Wuthering Heights will probably bore me. And from the other list, she got The Count of Monte Cristo, A Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectations, and Catch-22. She also got a copy of the Anna Karenina, I do apologize if I'm getting that wrong, that I gave her, and she said she would like for me to read it because it might help me understand why getting that hurt her so much. But if it gets too much, I can just give it back to her. I guess I can. I mean, I saw the movie. How bad can it be? And my mum also said that she wants to take me on a trip somewhere in August. Because if I move to Italy with everybody next summer, then we probably won't have a proper vacation again. I don't know if I want to go, but if it means so much to her, then maybe I will. I just guess I'm scared that maybe her husband will end up coming, even though she said that he won't. I guess that's another update for whoever still cares. I keep posting as long as I have something I want to write about. I do like venting on here, and since the therapist has recommended I continue, I guess I will. Update 4. Didn't think I'd be posting again so soon. I feel like writing something, so why not? Well, I've started reading the summer reading list. The first one I read was Frankenstein because I was most excited for it and it did not disappoint. I really liked that book. It was so good. I felt so bad for Frankenstein. Like his brother's nanny and his wife didn't deserve to die just because he was selfish. It made sense. He was a modern Prometheus because he can't be good as Prometheus because he lives in a more modern world. My girlfriend and I watched the Robert De Niro movie together, and it was really good too, but not as good as the book. I also read The Great Gatsby and it was good but not as good, and have started Moby Dick. As for Anna Karenina, I only read the first part, but I like it better than the movie so far. Anna isn't even the main character. That's a guy named Levin, and he's an interesting character. He's smart even though he's a simple farmer. I like all the thinking that he does. It makes him seem real even if the author writes dialogue or thoughts in a way that nobody would ever talk or think. What surprised me was how modern it was. There's stuff that tells you it's in the past, like receiving guests or telegram or how to start a fireplace. But there's also stuff like working in an office, how Levin works on a farm, a public skating rink, them just having coffee in the morning or going to dinner and ordering like it's a modern day. I get it wasn't like that for poor people, and that everybody in the book is pretty much rich. Some of the characters know the emperor, but it's kind of like 1800s Russian rich is like today, but with less rights for women. I didn't like the Anna parts, and I hate Vronsky, the guy she leaves her family for in the movie. I can't help but thinking of the stupid actor that played him in the movie too. I hate that actor. He's so lame. He's lame in everything I've seen him in, and for some reason, he's in everything too. He's a shitty guy who goes to brothels and treats Kitty, the girl Levin loves, into thinking he'll marry her so he can bang her. Pretends to love his mum because she's a hoe, and when he meets Anna, the first thing he hears is how much she loves her son, and starts trying to get her. It makes me mad. He knows she has a kid and thinks it's alright to go for her. He's not written as if he could be a real person either. What's weird is when Vronsky and Anna dance. The author writes Kitty's perspective to show her being humiliated, but also to show those two fall in love. Then the chapters after are Anna's perspective, but the author doesn't explain why they acted like that, just that Anna is attracted to him, but is ashamed and Vronsky is in love. I hate Vronsky. She tells him no twice when she sees him after the ball, but he keeps going after her. We have assemblies on how girls don't like guys who take no for an answer, but the author writes she does. He's such a stupid character. I hate this character so much, and it's worse that he's played by the stupidest actor ever in that stupid movie. And then it's as if meeting him changed Anna so much, so he doesn't find her son as good as she imagined, even though he's still the best thing in the world to her. Plus, Anna's husband isn't even bad. He's just sarcastic, but he's not cheating and trusts her, and the author says they love each other. I actually had an argument with my mum, because she said if I think Levin is the main character, then Kitty is just as important. And I see why the author needed to show the ball from her perspective, and also because it shows the effect of Anna's actions. But it's like the author needed them to fall in love and wrote Kitty's perspective because it was too hard to write Anna. So he tells us she falls in love, and he leaves it to us to imagine why that happens. We ended up bringing the argument into therapy because it got intense because my mum wouldn't accept that I don't think the author is that good. My therapist said I'm projecting people in my life onto people in the book, and that just dovetailed into stuff about my dad not wanting me to go to therapy. My dad's fiance's niece and nephew moved in a few days before Canada Day. It's been weird having them around. They love the Canada Day parade, but they've been quiet and they cry a lot. Like sometimes Julia, dad's fiance, has to sleep with them both. I've tried to be their friend, let them play on my PlayStation, play poker or basketball with them. I think they like my girlfriend more than me though, because I think they think she's famous. But it's hard because they don't know English, even though they've been seeing a tutor. And when we speak Italian, I honestly don't know what they're saying half the time because of their accent, and I understand nothing when they speak Sicilian. I did bring up in therapy once, but mum seemed kind of sad, and I guess it's because I don't really know her kids at all, so I haven't since. As for therapy, my dad made Julia promise not to let them go alone, and he seemed really scared and acts so weird when they go. He got into a few arguments about it with Julia, but she always shuts him down, and one time she even called my grandparents, and he's been hugging me really tightly every time I go with my mum now, or come back from it. He asked how much more I need to go, and if I can stop soon. And one time I think he was even crying when I came back, but he tried to hide it from me. My mum told me to let her know if he says anything about stopping me again. I guess the big thing is, my mum's not going to be working the first 2 weeks of August, so she was like, she can take me on a trip. That's just us to Kelowna or Kamloops or wherever then. But it has to be the first 2 weeks because she needs to start preparing for school reopening after that. The problem is that my dad's fiance is going back to Italy in the beginning of August for her stuff about her sister's will. And she asked me if I wanted to come, because she's like, she'll show me the University of Palermo and the University of Catania, and I can meet with advisors and stuff, and I'll get to see my grandparents. My mum got really sad when I told her about that. I feel like she wanted to cry and she said she really wanted me to stay so we could have one last vacation. Like she said it in a lot of different ways this weekend and kept telling me her husband wouldn't come along. So I don't want to let her down, but I also really want to see my grandparents. Wow, I wrote a lot more than I wanted to, but I guess if anybody who comes here has any advice if I should go with my mum or with Julia, I'll take it. Which brings us to update 5. So I don't know how many people are still reading this, but it says that I have 44 messages in the chat icon, so that's something. The first thing I want to do is thank Dusty Rose, a user on Reddit. You gave me a lot of support in our DMs back when I was active here, and it meant a lot to me. I don't know if your account is still active, but I hope it is, so you know that the talks we had really did help me. So just to mention, this update came 3 years after the others. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is that there were some things which I lied about in my older post because I guess I thought they made me seem cooler. Like at one point I wrote that I couldn't understand my stepmom's niece and nephew's accent when they spoke Italian. That was just not true, and I don't know why I wrote that. I only had trouble when they spoke Sicilian. And reading those old posts, the thing that I see a lot is that I kept saying I don't speak at all to my mum's husband and pretty much implied that I just gave him the silent treatment whenever I was around him. That was a lie, and was something I think I wrote because I thought it'd make me look like a badass or something. But it's just cringy looking back at it. The truth is, he's always been friendly to me. And I was always a dick to him because I hated him for taking my mum and having to be around him when I wanted to be with her. The only time he was ever actually mean to me was when he called me an arsehole for giving my mum the book. If I'm being honest, I still kinda hate him, but not like I used to, and maybe I really only hate that part of him that I think of when I remember my parents getting divorced. I don't know, it's hard to explain. When I moved to Italy with my dad, I really started missing my mum and kept blaming him like I would have spent more time with her when I was in Canada if it weren't for him. But now I try not to let it bother me because I know that kind of thinking is just going to make me angry with my mum. I'm so tired of that now. I never love him or respect him like I do my stepmother. But no matter how I feel about him, he loves my mum. He really does make her happy, and she loves him too. Another thing is that I know I wrote about crying really badly a few times, but the truth is, I cried so much more than I wrote about. And I tried to avoid writing about whenever I did because I felt so embarrassed about it and hated myself for being honest about the times I did cry. Looking back at most of those therapy sessions I went to with my mum, or the hikes, or when I told my mum I wanted to move to Italy, or so many other things, something made me cry like a baby. And I guess on here I could reframe those things like I was calm and cool. And then another thing is that I wrote about not wanting to go on vacation with my mum because I wanted to go check out universities in Italy with my stepmom instead. The truth is that I really wanted to go with my mum, and it's another thing where I don't even remember why I was writing like I didn't, because I did go with her and it was one of the best trips I've ever had. My life has been good since I last posted. I have a plan for my future and I'm not angry and bitter and depressed anymore. My dad and my stepmom are officially married and he's the happiest that he's ever been with her. I love university. It's so much better than school and it honestly feels like this is the best thing ever at times. I'm still completely shit with Sicilian, but everybody speaks Italian, so it doesn't matter. The reason I felt like writing this and just getting all these thoughts out is that my mum and her husband had another baby in August. And I flew in like a day after my mum got back from the hospital, and I stayed with them until I had to go back. So pretty much last night in Canada, my girlfriend visited my mum. And yes, this is the same girlfriend I had back when I made all those posts. We made it work somehow even though we were worlds away. She took a picture with my new baby sister and sent it, and I only saw it when I woke up like an hour and a half ago. But it reminded me of all this, and I felt like writing about it. Reading that very first post back, I see how I mentioned so many times that the reason we stopped seeing each other beyond birthdays and my games and events was because my sisters or her husband were always with her. It's funny because I know that at the time when I wrote that post, that seemed so much longer than it was. I didn't try to understand my mum and how hard it was for her to be away from my sisters with how small they were then. And it took her so long, maybe way too long, to understand why I only wanted her. But she did keep trying till she got it. And I can appreciate that so much now. It's like the person I was who wrote that post expected perfection from my mum, but wouldn't have been happy even if she gave it. I remember how guilty I felt for making my mum cry because of that stupid book, and so many people on this website pointed it out to me too. I still feel a bit guilty, but I can forgive myself just like I can forgive her for not being as perfect as I'd expected back then. I guess what I want to say is that I wish I hadn't been so angry and sad back then, and that I hadn't tried so hard to not enjoy time with my mum just because my stepfather and sisters were there too. And I wish that I knew that having fun, even if he was involved, didn't mean that I was suddenly okay with what he did. And I wish that I saw all the times that my mum tried to be better after the divorce for me and tried to make up for breaking up our family. And I wish that I knew that it was okay to be mad and act out because none of it was my fault. And if I'd known that sooner, then maybe I could have realized how I really wanted things to be sooner. Because I was really hurting myself by being so upset, and she could see it. And that was hurting her. We have a way better relationship now, and I love spending time with her without giving any conditions, because I really don't want to regret things anymore. When I move back to Canada to get my master's, I'm going to stay with her because I want her to be in my life. Eat her dinner again, watch TV shows with her again, and be a family. And I know that it'll be different and better this time, because I actually want it to be. If there's any advice I can give, it's just if you can make up for whatever regrets you have, then just do it. And I guess the last thing I'll say is that I really fucking hated reading that book. If I could go back in time, then I would never give my mum the book. And I definitely think it'd be to scrub the memory of reading it out of my head. It was worse than the movie my girlfriend made me watch. Read Frankenstein instead if you can. That final update had me absolutely welling up, I'm not gonna lie to you. And the last paragraph was an odd one for me. I mean, I understand where he's coming from, especially reflecting back. It's all sort of very mature the way he's looked back on stuff, but going back and never giving his mum the book, it's that strange irony, isn't it? Because yes, while he regrets giving his mum the book and the pain that it potentially caused in that way, it's what caused the chain reaction of everything in the end. It's what got him to this point. And sure, it may have happened in different ways if he didn't give the book, but this is what happened in this story. But the amount of growth you can see within 3 years is just absolutely beautiful, I think. And the stepdad situation I found kind of fascinating at the same time because he was just almost like just there. Sounded like he was being friendly and, he was the affair partner, which of course is absolutely awful. And I found it interesting in one of the updates where he was talking about that book he was reading and, he was talking about the characters in the book and it was genuinely making him angry. And, you could almost feel how he was relating that to real life, which I found that fascinating. But just going back to OP calling it a mistake to give the book and just to say once again that I think sometimes, air quotes, the mistake that's forcing this change is exactly something that needed to happen. I think with the maturity OP's shown in and growth within these last 3 years, got an amazing future ahead of him. And absolutely good on him, and I wish him and his families all the best. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, and much love.
Yeah, man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope.